Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter. Our guest today is Libby DeLucian, and this is Smart Business Moves.
Woohoo!
We are closing in on the holidays here, aren't we? Golly, we're already in December.
Yes. Closing in on, we already have gone by Thanksgiving and
Yeah,
just getting here real quick, but we're closing in on the end of the year
we
altogether.
are.
Oh,
And
crazy.
if you're going to get to the end of the year, you need to do your end of the year planning, right?
Goals.
Absolutely. Goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Do we still have time? Do we still have time for that?
Live, anybody that wants to, actually, I just had somebody, two people actually sign up for live stream for the goal setting workshop today. So I think a lot of people are like, okay, I haven't done it yet. I got to do something. The thing that's awesome about this workshop is everyone that joins is going to come out of it with a plan for the year. It's not going to be just learning how to make a plan or all of the things that are interesting about a plan or what to put into a plan. You're going to come out with a plan.
So Liz, you just coincidentally, you are having a 2-day workshop that starts when for this year-end planning?
It starts Friday and it ends on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, in like 2 days.
Well, actually, Megan has a budgeting workshop the day before the goal setting. So her budget workshop is on the 7th, Thursday, which is tomorrow, right? Yeah.
You mean the badass budget workshop?
That's the one. And it should be great fun. You know, every time you're doing anything with Megan, she makes everything fun. And she makes it easy, too. I think that that's good for a lot of people that are doing budgeting.
And you're doing the badass goal setting workshop?
Yeah, sure, kind of. Sounds just like
bad. I mean, it will be badass, but that's not your brand, is it?
Yeah, but I know you're just dying to hear me say it. I know.
But you're not.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I already. I was just thinking about today, Tom. Do you remember when we were at Gosha's office, and for some reason I said you swore, and I used a swear word. I don't know if I mixed two words up or something. I was like,
you caught my attention.
Yeah, it was. I thought of that just today. I was like, oh, that was so awkward. So awkward. Anyway, what are you doing, Libby? What are you up to? Are you like at home? I see all those hats and shoes in the background, I'm assuming.
Yes, I'm home. I'm feeling a little under the weather.
Oh.
I actually have a bottle of NyQuil like sitting next to my counter. It's Yaya's NyQuil because I didn't have any, so it's safe. It's kids.
Okay, but wait, Tom, before we get started, we have to take you and me out so everybody could see Libby's background. It's amazing.
Okay.
You gotta get rid of that.
How do I do this?
Oh. Yeah, so you can see my hats and shoes. I was like, hey, everybody puts books in their background. So I'll put my hats and shoes in the background. That's
okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that. She's got hats and shoes in the background with mood lighting, and it's all made to look like an amazing display. That's awesome, Libby. I love it.
Thank you.
Tom, does your closet look like that?
No.
I didn't think so.
I mean, I can elaborate, but there's no point. No is sufficient answer.
Yeah. Hey, Molly. Hey, Linda. Yeah, Linda, right? Those shoes and those hats. Oh gosh, if my daughter was on here, she'd be loving that too.
Hey, Molly, how are you? Did I mention MaidCentral is doing a MCA Live event in January in Phoenix?
Phoenix? Oh, I love Phoenix. Hey,
that's in January, I don't know, 9, 10, something like that, maybe 11. I'll share that later. But I know Molly's got a few people going to that. I hope we'll see her there too.
Awesome, Molly. I love Molly. And I don't think she's that far from Phoenix.
I think she's in Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
Okay.
I don't know. Molly, are you coming? Are you staying on for the happiness workshop that's the day after?
I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. Well, I know you are, Tom, because you've been such a huge advocate of
I'm
that.
all about happy.
I know. I mean, people think that we're joking about it, but you really are. So it's just a different brand for you than you've had in the past.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm happy right now. It might not look like it, but I have to contain myself sometimes.
Happy on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about like recruiting in 2024. We can talk about other stuff too, but I think that was the promise we made. So we're going to talk about that some anyway.
And
Absolutely.
and it's important to be talking about now because everyone knows, well, not and it's not everywhere either, but many places are slow at the beginning of the year and on both sides. And I don't know about anybody else, but I know quite a few people, ourselves included, that when the IRS checks come in, we start needing more people to work.
You need retirement
Yes.
check.
Yeah.
You can retire for a month.
Maybe not retirement. Yeah. Semi-retirement.
Well, when that check comes in, you see a higher quit rate and a higher no-show rate. So a high no-show rate in your interviews and a higher quit rate from the employees that are a little bit less committed.
Yeah. People just don't need their jobs as much as they thought they did when they've got a few grand in their pockets. At least until March, when they're like, uh-oh, money ran out, need a job again. So I like to plan for what's coming up in the future. So I think it's great that we're doing this now. You can tell people what they should be doing, Libby. Are there any big things that you know of that are going to be changing or that people should be thinking about?
Yes. So I put together a little PowerPoint just to cover some things to prepare for. I got some data to show you guys so we can kind of see the trends, what to expect going into 2024, because there's nothing, and I'm sure Liz can agree, there's nothing like being prepared. So that we can plan. And some of the stuff I'm going to cover is not going to be new. It's not going to be anything you have never heard. And it's going to be things that we know, but maybe we forgot about, maybe that we need to focus on again. But the one statement I want to say, and this data came from various sources, whether it was Indeed, Glassdoor, the Labor Bureau of Statistics, is that the Great Recession, or resignation, I'm sorry, is behind us, but that doesn't mean people are not still quitting their jobs. But why? And what does that mean? So I want to share with you guys just a little bit about that in depth and give you some stats on it so that you can understand it a little bit more. So what does it mean? Well, here, what it means is, it means people are not quitting. They're not necessarily just quitting to quit now. What they're doing is they're moving or they're job switching. So before we seen quit rates, which were they're flat out quitting. And now we're tracking this or trending it with switching job. It's a switching job rate. And you're going to see the trend from about 2005 to 2023. And so what happened is that during COVID, it gave people the confidence to quit their job when previously they didn't have that confidence, or maybe they wouldn't take certain things and they were fearful of quitting, where now quitting is more the norm than it used to be. So, they're not going to put up with certain things, or if they get better offers, see companies with better benefits. So quitting is more the norm versus post-pandemic, where we saw where it was historically, it wasn't. And so this is a longer timeline where it shows it over a 10-year period where we're still historically, though, still strong. If we look at it in a longer trend, we're generally people are still comfortable quitting. And I'm going to show you guys some unemployment rates. Well, even though, unemployment is still somewhat, we're going to consider it on the lower side. Even though it's trending up a little bit, we're still considering it on the lower side. But I just find it interesting because being in the recruiting space, people are still having issues with no-shows. We're still seeing that no-show rate issue. We're still seeing people leaving jobs, but it's shifting for different reasons. It's shifting for different reasons, and we're going to get into why it's shifting. With the unemployment rate right now, it's steadily increasing. This is the 1-year view. So unemployment right now is 3.9%. And we can see it steadily increasing because, I'm not going to get into, are we in a recession or are we not? Who knows? I'm honestly tired of hearing about it, but we could be. But here's it over a 5-year period. So it's historically not super high if we look at it over a 5-year period.
So what is this chart telling us? This is unemployment. Currently,
this is unemployment, that it's not unnecessarily high.
No,
because people are
not
like,
at all.
no, not at all. Because we're still seeing high quit rates. We're still seeing high no-show rates, but we're not in that great resignation anymore. So why are we still seeing the same trends as that we saw during the COVID pandemic? And so there are a few reasons that we're going to start to get into it with it. And one of them, and I thought this was a really interesting thing to start to look at, is the projection of the aging workforce coming out. We're going to start to feel the impact significantly in 2026. And so the quit rate, right? People are now more comfortable, have more confidence quitting their jobs. COVID instilled that into us. And it's also what is important to people. So people are just more comfortable leaving, quitting, job switching. So that's where that contributes. And then the no-show rate is contributing to, there's just more jobs than there are people. And this is where this graph comes into play. There are just more jobs than there are people. So people are either taking jobs, or your job isn't attractive enough, or it didn't hold their attention, or they took another job and forgot to tell you. Because the demand is so high right now. There's still a massive amount of jobs, if we look at the Indeed data, that are not filled. There's still people
are these
posting
numbers
jobs.
here, Libby, are these people that are just the general age of the population, or people that are in the workforce?
This graph right here. So in 2026, we're going to fill it really hard. We're going to have almost the same amount of people 55 and older than we have with the ability to supposedly work.
So is that workforce, or is that just the population?
The red is workforce. So the red is workforce. So we see the workforce in 2006, how large, this is what they're considering workforce, 25 to 54.
I got you. So there's going to be going to be more older. The workforce is just getting older too. Almost 40% of the people working in 2026 are going to be 55 years of age or older. Wow.
Yes. And so we're going to feel the hardest impact in 2026.
Okay, so hold on.
In
I'm still a little lost here. Sorry to be dense here. How I'm reading this is that this is of the population. So because the population will be over almost 40% of the population will be 55 and older, we'll have fewer people to work.
40% of the people working aren't going to be 55 years old. 40% of the people living are going to be 55 years and older.
Which means we'll have fewer people to work, period, than we had in the. Okay, that makes good sense to me. I get it now. All right, so
in 2026, baby boomers will be between the age of 62 and 80 years old, which is the largest. It will be the largest number of them will be moved out of the workforce,
right?
Like to date. Yeah. So we're starting to see that impact because of the number of jobs versus the number of applicants as we encroach into 2024. But what we see is the number of people coming into the workforce doesn't grow. Mm-hmm. It doesn't increase because the younger generation isn't having as many children.
Wow.
So This is called the baby shortfalls. This will be an issue for us here in the United States for at least the next 10 years, they say. And again, I didn't make up these stats. This is coming from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It says it down there in the corner. But what I find interesting is in 2026, we will have the highest ever recorded average age of work. It will be, which is funny, 43 years old. Will be the average age of an employee, which is the highest age ever recorded. I find that funny because that's how old I am, and I don't consider myself old.
It's all relevant.
But so we're digging into that, and I just interesting. In 2026, the service industry sector is projected to have 81% of wages. Right? So they will have 81% of jobs, 81% of wages. But if we have 81%, the service sector,
yeah,
we'll be impacted by people aging out.
To a bigger extent, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So this doesn't look good. What do we do?
So, we have to think about being competitive, pay, how we can make our jobs more efficient, how can we make our jobs easier. There are people that can continue to do labor jobs into their 50s. I've had great cleaning techs that were 50 and 60 years old. But that is being said that we have to be efficient. We have to have processes to our cleaning. And so, making sure that we are competitive. And Liz teaches a lot of the culture aspect, and we're going to get into what people want in their job. This is what we can expect to see in the trends coming into 2024 and beyond. So, the Great Resignation is over, but we're going to see some of these trends stick around for a little while. And this is why, because of the aging population, every year there's a percentage that will be aging out. Also, because of the comfort level of people quitting, how can we entice them to stay? And then what I do want to give you guys for encouragement is that the wage is slowing. It's starting to settle. So the increase in wage has slowed. So we know it spiked during COVID, where we increased our wages, and we're seeing it start to settle. So that is a great sign of wages kind of starting to settle a little bit, because they peaked they peaked January of 2022, raising about 9.3%, which is pretty high. But we're starting to see them settle. So that's great for us business owners, because we couldn't continue to raise our wages.
Well, not so in Washington. We're looking at a $25 minimum wage in the next 2 years. So
is that being discussed, or is that law?
It's already been written in, I believe. 25 might be 3 years, and it's written in. They're looking to speed it up to 2 years.
And you have one of the most difficult states. It's probably more difficult than California.
In different ways. Yeah, in different ways.
In different ways. Like,
Colorado too.
I think they have, yeah. And Montana is getting pretty competitive as well.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, aren't they lucky?
So
we could probably rattle off a few other states if we wanted to, but we get the point.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So, wages are starting to settle depending on where you live. And so, we can rest assured maybe they're starting to settle, because what I did see was we increased our rates here in the service sector to a point to where we could afford to pay. But some of us are seeing kind of those rates plateau, where our customers are being price sensitive now. I don't know, Liz, I don't know if you're seeing that, or Tom, in your cleaning businesses, where customers are being a little bit more picky or choosy as far as the cleaning goes. They want a little bit more value. They're a little bit pickier because they're holding on to their money.
Yeah, I feel like that's comes and goes. And here we are again with a coming section.
Yes. And so
it tends to wash or kind of counter to the workforce. When there's a greatest shortage of labor, there seems to be more demand, and then when the labor starts to come back a little bit, the demand kind of I guess a little tougher. You always have too much of something and not enough of something else.
Yeah.
And here's the next chart that goes with it, right? Wages growing faster than inflation, than prices.
Yeah.
It's kind of going back and forth on the graph, but it's keeping up with it at the same time. Now versus in 21 and 22, it grew faster. So it's starting to kind of track with it a little bit. So, the trends are starting to trend a little bit more consistently with like wages, inflation. So I think as a business owner, that's a great sign versus where in 21 and 22, we were so competitive with our wages to try to attract people. It got a little crazy. So, what's important, and I know Liz is going to love these topics, for what's important to attract people in 2024. So, I gathered like the 5 top things to really help you attract great talent in 2024. And so what we found was the top 5 things were people want focus on human-centric work models, not just profit. And I want to skip to the next slide real fast. This is actually a slide from my company, and we practice this model. And our employees at WootRecruit love this model. We practice this and organize it as well, but we call it a PCR model. It's a people, customers, results driven company. And
I just got to point out that says costumes, and it confused the heck out of me.
I know there's a typo.
But I was really expecting you to tell me that we were going to have like some kind of fun things. I know somebody that does a lot of costumes and stuff. So I was like, oh, I was liking that.
Well, at least I spelled it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But costumes is more fun, Libby. It catches
we had to do costumes.
Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
This is good. I like it.
So I always say, at least that AI didn't make my slides.
Yeah. Good job.
This is a slide from ours, but our employees love this model. This is what we always talk about. This is how we are focused. This is how we are driven. But I always use this slide. I threw it in here because when we were doing our research, we found that this is what they want. They want a human-centric model, not a profit-driven model, which this is. It's people, customers, results. It's people first. It's our employees first. It's customers, and then it's results. People come first, no matter if it's our customers or our employees. And so that's what's important. It cannot just be about profit. It cannot be about money. The second most important thing for the 5 top trends is location, location, location. People love flexibility and the ability to work remotely, flexible, hybrid. And I know we can't give that to everybody. I know we cannot give that to certain technicians, but depending on how your company runs, you could offer a version of that, whether it's to the scheduler or to a salesperson or to a receptionist. Have some flexibility built in there because it's really important. I read this great book and it's called Running Remote. And they talked about there are 5 levels of remote. And they use the medical industry for an example. They said, yes, the nurse cannot wait on a patient remotely, but the scheduler can, the receptionist could, and it really changes the way companies work and how they hire and how they retain people. So look at location, location, location. The next is having a say, like having a say in how things go, having a voice in the company is so important to others. And then and again, when I started, I said, none of this is new. It's just, did we focus on it and do we currently do it? And then diversity and inclusion in the workplace is huge. And then I think the last one being the most important, and I have some data to show you behind the last one, is emotional intelligence and mental health in the workplace. I think when I first started my business, I didn't have great emotional intelligence. I couldn't tell that instead of just barking a bunch of commands at people, I should have asked them how their day was or how they felt, instead of just asking, why did you do this or why didn't you do that? That's, lack of emotional intelligence on my part. I think it's so important that we look at mental health. These are stats that were taken on what's really the number one thing coming in to 2024. And these are huge numbers. They surveyed thousands and thousands of people. And these are huge percentages where like 81% of people really wanted counseling services for mindful programs. They wanted mental health days. They were looking for 87% of people surveyed wanted to prioritize mental health and well-being. They wanted mental health programs and well-being programs. They wanted the organization to invest in more. And more, again, work-life balance, addressing burnout, work-related stress, and 77% addressing work-life balance and boundaries, such as reducing after-work hours, emails, and meetings. So, this was a quick thing, just a quick rundown of 2024 and what to look at. But ultimately, what every single person wants, what you want, whether you're the business owner, what your employees want, or your manager, it's to really look at working how I want, when I want, and where I want. And I get a lot of pushback with this phrase because they're like, well, if I can't do this, I have cleaning techs. And I said, well, so do I. They can work. They work solo. We train them. Yes, they can work how they want. Hey, I don't care if you start in the bathroom, great, or start in the kitchen. Use the system. I don't care. You can start where that's how you want. Work when I want. We have a window of arrival time. You can start at 8 or 9. We don't care. That's when I want. It's within a certain frame. And work where I want. Okay, not necessarily, but we say, hey, you can work from an app. You don't have to come in to the office today. So it's looking at your traditional job in a non-traditional way to help attract and retain people because their mindsets have changed. So we have to change the way we typically voice our jobs or we describe what our jobs are. Because I think we get stuck describing them the traditional way when honestly, we've changed our jobs. We kind of pivoted when COVID hit, but we didn't pivot the way we're describing them to our workforce or the way we could describe them and actually carry them out. We put windows on arrival times for all our jobs so we could give our technicians more flexibility.
I've got two things to add here that I think you're going to love, Libby. So here are two trends that I'm seeing with people in my circles. We're seeing a lot more of this. This question is a common question that we recommend to people to ask is, what do you think, how many days do you think the average employee takes off in a month? Historically, that number has always been between 1 and 3. People would say 1 to 3. Guess what the number is now that people are saying?
A month, you said?
Yeah.
And this is, you say people, this is coming from the leaders in your circles.
Yeah, they're asking the question of applicants, and the applicants are giving this answer.
Oh, okay.
So I would say probably 5 to 6.
8. 8 is the average answer. 8 to 10. 8 to 10 days is what they're expecting is reasonable to take off.
Out of 21 point something average work days in a month.
I'm sure they're thinking it's 30 days and, it makes sense to take off, 8 to 10. That's what we're hearing. Yeah. So that's one piece of data. And then here's the other thing. I've got something for you, the where. So historically in our industry, the where, Marlo, hell to the no. A lot of people are with you there, Marlo. For the where, Libby, here is something that I know quite a few people are doing right now for the where. I would say maybe at least 20, maybe 25, 30 people are with their customer base, they're allowing their employees to choose which customers they want to clean for. And so they're deciding where they want to clean. They're still going to have to clean some places that they don't want to clean, but for anything that they do that's well, that they're doing well, one of the perks is choose who you want to clean for. Choose another job that you want to clean for, or
I love that.
you don't want to clean for. And that's a great perk. How easy is that for us to deliver on? Right?
Yeah, so that's a great perk. So we did the where. I said, okay, well, all I could do for that is, work from an app. Instead of coming to an office every day, you have the ability to work from an app.
Yeah.
I couldn't do necessarily the where, but that's kind of how we checked off the where.
Yeah. And so here's a new way of doing where that,
Yes.
let them have a little bit of say. So we teach a lot about what we call AIM, autonomy, importance, meaning, and measure. And the autonomy piece was always important, but now more than ever, autonomy is huge. People don't have tolerance for any lack of autonomy anymore if they feel that. So that's
And the data shows they're more comfortable now quitting.
Yeah. And everybody does it. So it's not weird anymore. It's not like you don't have a job anymore. It's that you have so many opportunities. You can just leave this one and go get a better job.
Try another one. I might like it more.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing too, to go with quitting and jobs. So when I was, say, 20 years old, my option for work was literally to just go work with my hands. It was very slim, or I would go to college and go get a degree. Now, if you're 25 or 20 years old, the options to go and get a job are so exponential. They're just so you could work from home. I have a 25-year-old who doesn't even own a car, who works from home on the computer. So they're so exponential because you literally can there's so many more options, and that isn't a proper grammar. So many more options. There's just so many options that there weren't previously that aren't even literally considered a job. So there's a whole nother topic called like gig stacking, right?
Yeah.
And you can literally gig stack and make really good money gig stacking. And it's almost like talent stacking, but they're calling it gig stacking, where I can like drive for Uber, I can do this, I can babysit, I can rover.com, and I can gig stack and make $50 an hour almost by doing these things that don't necessarily need my time all the time. Doing it. And I'm going to say this, and she might be watching. My sister-in-law is doing it. We just visited her, but like she had rover.com. She was like personal assistant for somebody. So it's like she's gig stacking, and I've read about it, but I hadn't really seen anybody doing it. And it's pretty interesting to see. And if you want to make a decent amount of money, you can, and you wouldn't really need a full-time job.
Yeah.
Right.
Tom, you remember when I was talking to you about my niece moving? She lived in California and she quit her job, she and her boyfriend, and they just moved to Phoenix. And they didn't really have any money or anything. They didn't have jobs that they were going to, and they were not at all stressed out. They're just like, well, we'll just earn money as we need it. That is a completely different mindset from my generation.
There's a time if you didn't have a job, that was a big stress.
Terrible. And it was bad societally too. If you didn't have a job, you're a loser, right? Now, if you don't have a job, wow. All right.
Well, back to the applicants that want 10 days off. One of the things that my son, he's 25, he has his own house, doesn't even have a job. Not like he has a job, don't get me wrong, but he's not a W-2 employee. He just works for himself. What him and his friend value, and I always ask questions because I'm like just so interested in the way they work. They value time freedom. Time freedom is what they want. They don't care if they have $100 in the bank. They can go do something, turn on an app, make some money, sell some music because they like to make music and stuff. Like that isn't important to them based like the way I was raised. Like you grow up, you get a good job, you put money in the bank. And if you don't, like society, like you're like frowned upon if you don't do those things.
It's different now. Also, the newer generation, they have this very large idea about, you really shouldn't go get another job because it's going to hold you back from being able to do the things that you really want to do. Like, how are you going to have a really good TikTok career if you have a job? That just doesn't make sense. Literally listening to a group of girls in the airport. They were, I don't know, I'm not good with ages, but they looked maybe 19 to 25-ish. And that's what they were all talking about is, it's so crazy. My mom keeps bugging me. I got to get a job, but how am I supposed to have a job like she wants where I'm going every day? I can't keep up with my TikTok if I do. I was just like, all right, that's good.
So besides the workforce aging out,
yeah,
this is the other thing we will dealing with, like that we as a service sector be dealing with, trying to find frontline help, which is going to be interesting and challenging. It's not going to be impossible, but I think it will pose a fun challenge.
You have to blow that up, Tom. I can't even see it on my 50-inch screen over here.
Oops. I just noticed this is the UK. This might be different. This is like stressors in life, ranked in terms of the biggest stressors,
There.
Death in the family, financial challenges, issues at work is number 3, above like challenge in a relationship or divorce. Divorce is below challenge in relationship. Interesting. Exams, buying a house, watching the news. Wow. Having a child.
I love that watching the news made the list of the top 10 things.
Yeah.
Well, don't watch the news. That's why I don't watch it.
Wow. Having a child. Why?
Let's
Wow.
look at another list here.
Yeah. So
Death,
what you're
divorce,
saying,
moving, illness, job loss. Job loss is number 5. Moving is more stressful than losing your job.
moving.
What's the data though? That's old. It's from 2015.
2015. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think that would be as stressful for people nowadays.
Here's one from 2022.
Okay.
Here, let me blow this up.
Yeah, thanks.
Death of a spouse. Okay, I could see that. Divorce, marital separation is less stressful than divorce. Okay. Being incarcerated. Okay, I could.
Wow. But it made a list. Wow.
Pretty stressful, I guess.
Yes.
Death of a family member is number 5. That's more stressful than. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Injury, being sick, just marriage in general. being fired or lay off is number 8.
I'm happy to make the list now.
Reconciliation. Retirement.
This is an older group of people that they were polling. I mean, except for the incarceration. Right? Was that this one? Yeah, being incarcerated.
It looks like marriage has a lot of stress between the death of a spouse and the divorce, or just a separation, or
reconciliation.
Yeah. I love that even getting back together again is like super stressful.
That's stressful too. So
yeah.
Can't win, can you?
I'm with the knee. Oy vey. Yeah. So what you're saying, Libby, is we've got a lot of changes that are all coming together at the same time. And 2024 is going to have some unique challenges for us.
Yes. I think that, you're going to start to see some of these trend together, and they'll pose some for unique challenges. But what people want to see ultimately, Liz, hasn't changed. It's the diversity. It's being part of a company, right? But I think the biggest thing that people want right now is that mental wellness, that work-life balance. Time freedom is like the number one thing that we want it.
There is just so much more strain our younger generation can't handle strain to
I
the
blame it on social media.
yeah. I don't know what to blame it on, but there's so much
Even though we're on it.
yeah.
Yeah, shh.
Contributing. Yeah, just so much more anxiety, more mental illness. The death rate, the suicide rate is higher. You know, our younger people just are struggling a lot more. It's kind of sad.
Yes. So I think that, creating a workplace that at least acknowledges it. I don't think that we have to address it because I don't think it's also our place. Because, mental well-being it's a HIPAA thing. It's a medical thing. But I think having a workplace that acknowledges it and allows for time for it is at least the first step that you could take towards that.
8 to 10 days a month.
Yeah, 10 days a month. There you go.
So, like mental health days, that's interesting. Do you hear that, like in your circles, Liz? Is that like a new benefit?
Yes.
Is that different than a PTO day? Is that counted differently?
No, it only with the people that I know of. They're given more PTO days though to be able to accommodate the additional mental health days that are needed. Yeah. And we're hearing a lot more about things like, I don't know what to do. My client called because my employee is having a breakdown in the house. A lot more of that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Having a breakdown in the house. All right. Or they come to work and just can't. I can't do it. I can't go to work. Or halfway through the day, I can't work anymore today. I have to go home.
So, in full transparency, we've had a cleaning technician. So she didn't have a full breakdown, but pretty close. We had to pull her because she was
Where's the line between partial and full? How do you know?
Partial
because
into a facility and
I'm with you.
go
Okay,
home.
so that is clinical thing. Okay.
So, and she was going, and at the end of the day, it's that they're going through things at home and they just don't know how to deal with the stress. They don't know no outlet, no person to talk to. And it festers up to a breaking point.
And they don't know how to talk to each other anymore. There's just so much less time and practice and experience talking with each other. And people, especially young people, got stuck in a bad place when they weren't around anyone for a couple of years. Made it even worse.
Liz, I'm a big fan of the unlimited approved time off. We implemented that now. We've been doing it for a year. We did it last January. I've cleaned technicians love it. No one abuses it. We have limits or like parameters, follow as long as you follow the guidelines.
Good for you.
And
I'll tell you, when I first started telling people about this, they thought I was insane. They told me it wouldn't work, couldn't work. I was like, it does.
With the guidelines, the rules, you need to let us know a reasonable time in advance, and there's certain blackout dates that if it's
we can't
the day
do
before a holiday. I mean,
you can make it what you need it to be. And then the other greatest thing we ever did was create windows of arrival time for all of our jobs. That really helped us retain some really great staff. I came up one day, I was driving to the office for a meeting and I had to drive there the same time that our cleaning techs would drive to the office. And I'm sitting in the car thinking, this is stupid. Like the traffic is dumb. But if I left my house 30 minutes later, I'd get there in less than half the time. But because I have to be there at this exact time. And then, I had to think to myself, why did I start this cleaning company? And it was because I needed to be a parent. I needed to have the ability to drop off my kids and pick them up. And so I wanted to go back to that core root. And so I created windows of arrival time. And so many of our technicians, they thanked us because they could now drop their kids off at school. They didn't have to pay for before care. And we just made an hour window of arrival time. Not one client has complained. We just communicate it in our automations. And all of them have now windows of arrival time. And our technicians love it, and they love the flexibility.
You know, I think where people get stuck here is this old way of thinking. It's like, but people have to be on time. I need a time for people to start. And there are still a lot of people that they were 5 minutes late. You know, they need to be written up. This is not a good employee. I'm like, different people.
I mean, there are logistical realities too, you know, traffic, and there's a lot of reasons why guaranteeing an exact time is impractical. But
I would be
sort of
fired if I was an
letting
employee.
benefit and giving your technicians the opportunity to, you know, make some choices within that window. That's
It's just another way.
yeah.
Another way to provide some autonomy. It doesn't have to be this one way. It's not like there is one exact right way, but there are lots of opportunities, and there's no reason to get stuck in the idea that I can't do that. You can just look for the ways that will work for you and your company. Not all the ways will work for everybody. That's true. But some will work for everybody.
So, you know, this is interesting because, you know, Libby, you're, you know, the founder and CEO of WootRecruit, and it's about recruiting people. You know, you don't have enough cleaning professionals. Well, you need to recruit, you know, better. You need to recruit more and hire more. But we really haven't talked about that at all. This is about retention.
Yes. But retention also attracts good recruits.
It's
Because,
easier
like,
to hire people if you have a place that people want to be at.
yeah.
You
know? It's just so much easier. If you have these things in place, you're going to attract and keep good people. I could get people to your door all day, but if you don't have the framework, then you're going to have a high no-show rate, or no one's going to accept your offer, or no one's going to stay.
Tom, looks like we have a question about MaidCentral here. To be able to do this, would that be a soft start on MaidCentral? How would they do that if they wanted to have a window of arrival time? How do you do it, Libby?
Hi, Wendy.
It's
ours is just simply. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, you go ahead, and I'll answer. How do you guys do it?
Oh, ours is just verbalized in the automation email. Window of arrival time is.
There's two types of starts in MaidCentral: a hard start and a soft start. You know, a hard start is, you know, I start my day at 8 o'clock, and if I can clock in at 7:50, but I'm not getting paid until 8 o'clock. And soft start is you kind of start getting paid whenever you clock in. So I think I got that right. I might have them reversed. I don't know, Wendy. I don't do the implementation anymore, but I can tell you that I'm not sure. You want to use the start that basically they start getting paid the second they clock in, regardless of when they clock in.
Either one of those
can be done.
We have any of the MaidCentral experts out there who wants to chime in? That would be awesome.
Where's Katie? You know, where's Katie when you need her? She always has the answer to all these questions.
I should know that.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll get to the answer, Wendy. All right. Anything else for recruiting specifically, Libby, that we might need to know? Or
mainly, you know, you want to make sure that you assess what your current offer looks like and make sure it's in line with what people want, not what you think they want. Because, right, what we want, we're business owners, and it doesn't matter if it's not what they want. And those are two different things. And that could be why maybe no one's accepting your offer, or maybe you have a high no-show rate. You need to make sure it's what the people want out there in the real world versus what you want or what you think they want. It could be two different things. So do an audit of your offer, your job, your benefits, your culture, which is hard to audit. Talk to Liz. She's a culture queen. And do an audit of it, because maybe it's great or maybe it lacks. It's hard to tell, because culture isn't something that it's hard to measure. We can't feel it or touch it. Maybe you could feel it.
And it is really hard too, because what people think they want tends to not always be what they really want, what they act on. So we think we want what we've been told to want, but what we really want ends up being a little bit different. And y'all know that too, because your people will tell you things like, I need more hours. And then you give them more hours and they call out. They're like, well, what I really meant was I need more money.
I won't need more money and less hours.
Less hours. That's what I need.
There you go.
Can I answer Wendy's question? Yeah. I Googled it. I just Googled MaidCentral soft start.
Good job.
And it's a soft start. Basically, an employee can clock in before their scheduled start time or after their scheduled start time. It really doesn't matter. And they're going to get paid as soon as they clock in. So that would be how you would set them up if they have the autonomy to pick when they want to start. So we'll learn two things there. We learn that. We also learn that Google indexes the documentation for MaidCentral. So if you have a specific question, you can just go to Google and ask it.
Woohoo! That's awesome. I love that.
Great job on the SEO there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Are. So can we talk about WootRecruit for a minute?
Sure.
Because we are like pressing up on the top of the hour, and it happens quick.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
And I don't want to lose the opportunity. And I am going to do this. And this is your website?
Yes.
And then, okay, I see. If somebody wants to know more about WootRecruit, I guess they just go to WootRecruit.com. If they want to talk to you, Libby, or get a quote or whatever, or all of that's through the website?
Yes, they can just go to the strategy call page and book a call. We do demos with anyone who wants to sign up for service. We are a little bit different. We do things a little bit different than your typical recruiting company. We're not an ATS. There's a service side to our service and a software side. So we manage your Indeed account. We take that over. We optimize it. And then we also have a software side where we're going to then dump all those applicants into a software where you can engage, manage your applicants, and control the calendar aspect of it as well. And then we also just integrated with MaidCentral. So when your applicant, when you want to hire them, you want to make them an offer. And we just decided, me and Tom were talking, when does that trigger? When do we want to send them over to MaidCentral? And that is going to be triggered over when they show up for onboarding. You can then zap them over from your WootRecruit hub. You can then zap them over to MaidCentral, and they will automatically be created in MaidCentral as a technician.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's a full API integration. It's really cool. Just click a button, bam, you got the new employee at MaidCentral coming over from WootRecruit.
Oh, congratulations, you guys. That's great.
We're all about saving you time.
Yeah, that's super helpful for everybody. That's great.
And are you guys going to, I guess part of the whole budgeting planning process that you guys are going to be working on in California, where are you guys going to be starting on Thursday?
We are going to be so Megan is going to be right around Auburn. It's a little city, right, or a little town, I guess, right next to Auburn. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say Davis, but that might not be exactly right. If you
Oh, this is in person.
there's both. There's an in-person and a live stream option.
Oh,
So it's a live event.
If I'm in California, if I want to travel, could I still sign up for the live event?
If you were in one of my circles, you could.
You have to know somebody. You have to have contact.
We'd have to make some adjustments and some shifts to be able to make that happen.
If you guys want to go live, hit Liz up. She'll figure something out.
Yeah, if you're going live, if you're in that area.
But if you want to live stream it, you can sign up through coreprofitbuilders.com.
Yep, absolutely. This is our homepage. Easy to sign up for the live stream there.
Right.
Like I said, it just had 2 people sign up today for that. So I'm thinking it's a good option.
and Megan, she knows her numbers. She is the bomb when it comes to that. I love Megan. So
Megan
you will
likes
not be
money.
disappointed.
Megan
Megan
does
likes money very much.
She was on Smart Business Moves last week. Was it last week, Tom?
Yeah, I think it was last week. Yes.
Yeah, last week. And she is a fireball, isn't she? She always has so much energy, and she really does love budgeting. You just don't really do it a lot. Yeah, she does. She loves it. She loves doing it.
You don't
herself.
meet very many people that are that energetic that do numbers.
No. So fun. Yeah, that's why it's fun. It's fun to work with her, I think. You were going to mention something about MaidCentral Academy. You said you were going to talk more about it.
Yeah, well, we're doing it January 9th through 11. It's now a 3-day event, and it kind of fits with the beginning of the year as well. We show you how to take all your core KPIs and use them to put a forecast together for the upcoming year, and show you how to put together a plan to, make the green numbers go up and the red numbers go down. And you guys will be using some of those numbers later this week as well. And everybody gets their core KPI calendar if you go to Liz's event or our event either.
Yep. And anybody going to the MaidCentral live event also gets the Profit Maximizer for free. It's part of the event. I know that 2 of the live stream costs the same as the Profit Maximizer does. So it's getting 2 for the price of 1 there if you're going to the event. So
it's a BOGO.
Yeah, it is. It's a different kind of BOGO.
Okay. BOGOs are great deals.
Oh my gosh, I love them. I do. I love them.
So we are at the top of the hour. Are we going to be doing this next Wednesday? I guess we are.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Do we have a guest?
We're not doing it on the 20. We had one day we weren't doing it. Maybe we are, though.
Yeah. Who's our guest going to be next week? It's a surprise.
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 Yeah, good. Means they'll be good. They'll be good.
Libby, thank you so much.
I appreciate you coming on, bringing us some data too, Libby.
Yeah.
Tom really loves it when people bring the data, right, and make some decisions off of that. It makes really good sense all the time.
We have to make better places to work. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. We can't hire our way out of what's coming. We have to create better jobs.
Yeah, that people want to stay at.
Right.
We can't hold them to the jobs anymore. We did in the past. No, not going to work anymore.
So we're going to call this a wrap for today, but we'll be back next Wednesday, 5 o'clock Eastern. Y'all take care.
Bye, y'all.